But what did you think ultimately of what the Mariners were able to acquire concerning what they gave up, which was none of their top 100 prospects?
I was impressed, and it shows that when you have a couple things. Number one, good depth of talent, which they have, and that's the important thing, that the fifth best prospect in the Mariners system or the sixth best prospect in the Mariners system is going to be better than the comparable player in many other organizations, because the Mariners have done a pretty good job of bringing talent and developing it in recent years. That's number one. That says that the Mariners system is as deep as they have suggested to us that it is. That's good news. Number two, they've got a very motivated GM and president who basically know that after being oh so close too often, that this is a year to go for it. And in a year in which other teams, including the Tigers, including the Red Sox, including the Cubs, were a little more incremental in the way they went about things, the Mariners got the guys that they believe, as Jerry Dipoto said last week, in his opinion, Suarez and Naylor were the two best bats that moved. Now, I do think that we're seeing a little different version of Josh in Seattle than we've seen with him in Arizona, because, again, the ballpark's different. If he ends up being more of a singles-doubles guy who drives and runs, that's okay, because the way that the Mariner lineup is situated right now, you've got Canzone batting seventh, and he's been one of the more productive players in the last month or so. So it's a longer lineup. You add an important arm to the bullpen who's already, I think, had some value for this team. And I would say the totality of it, it was the right addition at the right price at the right time for the right team. And for a lot of different reasons, I think the Mariners did a very good job at the deadline this year.
Hey, JP, when you look at the lineup, and, it's pretty impressive, and I don't know if, over your career you've seen, just the addition of a couple of players, and it almost seems like you got more than two in the lineup because,
right.
You got Suarez and Naylor, and Naylor's got his own kind of special intensity, but, man, all of a sudden you look at it, and when Cole Young or Jorge Polanco gets, a couple of hits, now, all of a sudden, you're looking. When's the last time you saw a team? And I know that, like during Jerry's tenure, that he doesn't think he's had this kind of a lineup, and just the effect that can have on the other hitters.
Well, you're right, and it's a tremendous point, Dave. That sometimes the right player added into a lineup changes the entire at-bat quality of the rest of the guys. And I remember I saw this when the Giants traded for Hunter Pence back in 2012, when they got Marco Scutaro as well. There are certain players who just change the dynamics of a team. And that was true for that team. It was also true, by the way, for the Kansas City Royals when they got Ben Zobrist 10 years ago. He changed that lineup, and it's a different at-bat quality. And especially when you've got Polanco batting sixth, it's something different than when Polanco's batting third, which was initially the way that they wanted to use him when they first acquired him before last season. Canzone, as we talked about J.P. Crawford. When Crawford's your eighth-place hitter and then Young bats ninth, and when they're on base, and certainly Young we've seen get a bit more comfortable at the major league level, it just lessens the pressure on them. It frees them up. And then once the top of the lineup gets going, a game like this with the Rosarena batting leadoff, Raleigh second, J-Rod third, and then Naylor fourth, those guys are all hitting at the moment. They also are stolen base threats. And you don't often see – I bet you a lot of Mariner fans, when they acquired Naylor, were probably a little surprised to see the man's got 17 stolen bases. He is a good base stealer, a smart base runner who, as you point out, brings a certain intensity. So, again, a Rosarena, 21 stolen bases, Raleigh, 12, J-Rod, 21, Naylor, 17. When the top of your lineup can hit the ball over the fence and can steal bases, it really catalyzes your team in a way that I think bodes very well for success in the month of October.
We saw Julio hit career home run number 100 over the weekend, and then the Mariners, sent out a notice with all these facts and things you didn't really know. And he's I didn't realize, first player in history to start his career with 4 consecutive seasons of 20-plus home runs, 20-plus stolen bases. I didn't realize that was he's the only one, and it sort of kind of puts his career in perspective. You know, we do a lot of complaining about what he's not doing, and he's not consistent, and he's not this, but overall, when you look at his career, is he somebody that you feel like has lived up to his potential, or he's still trying to find that?
I think he has, and I really appreciate the way you asked that question, Bob, because it is true that he has been inconsistent. It's also true that you could very easily see him becoming a Hall of Famer one day. This is what the start of a Hall of Fame career looks like. Let's be honest, to your point, no one's ever done this before. And if you compare what he has done to this point in his career to what, for example, Adrian Beltre did, not for nothing, at this point in Ichiro's Hall of Fame career, he had played 0 games in the major leagues at this age, right? So consider just where Julio is, how young he still is. His game isn't perfect. That's true. But I go back. I'm going to say this. If the Mariners end up winning the division, if they end up winning a couple rounds of the postseason, if they end up going to the World Series for the first time in franchise history, I'm going to go back to that game they lost in New York when Wu was pitching a no-hitter and they somehow lost it. And what a completely deflating game that was. And then they go to Detroit. They win the series in Detroit. Ever since that loss, in which J-Rod was 0 for 5, since that game, his OPS is 1,000. The Mariners are 12-8. And it seemed like the way they responded to that defeat has become the new true north of their year. And I'm just really impressed by that. I think that when a team and a player are tested to that level, I mean, that is a gut check moment of gut check moments. And they have been one of the better teams in the American League since then. And the biggest reason why, from where I sit, is that Julio Rodríguez is playing the way that we expect him to play. And that is, again, someone that this is very early times here. If this was a 4-quarter long football game, we're still like in the late stages of the first quarter, but this is what the first chapter of a Hall of Fame career can look like. And it's important to see that even as you talk about the high standard that we hold him to, and we should. He's got a contract that says he should have a high standard. But it can also be true that the man's put together the first chapter of what could be a Hall of Fame career.
He is Jon Morosi with us each and every week. John, always a great conversation. We appreciate you, my friend. Have a great week, and we'll do it again next week.
Sounds great. This is going to be a lot of fun to watch this team play the next couple months and beyond. I promise that if they're in the playoffs, my friends, I'm going to find a way to get out there and see you guys this fall. It's going to happen.
We can't wait to see you. You're going to be here.
Sounds
Love
great.
it.
Looking forward to it. All
Thanks,
the best,
John.
guys. Thank you.